So Phasmophobia can be a bit tricky for new players, but in this video I'm going to be teaching you how to identify all ghosts without any evidence. So without wasting any more time, let's start with the first one. The Wraith is a very easy ghost to identify. All you need to do is place some salt, and if the ghost walks towards you but didn't step in the salt, you can immediately head out knowing it's a Wraith. For a spirit, you will need to start a timer whenever you smudge the ghost, and if it takes 3 minutes or more to hunt you, you can tell it's a spirit. Every other ghost will start hunting at 1 minute and 30 seconds, except for a demon. The phantom can be a pretty difficult ghost as it's less visible during hunts, which can lead to death very fast. So when hunting, the phantom will blink less as a normal ghost. And another way to test for a phantom without a hunt is to take a photo of the ghost during an event or dots, and if the ghost disappears and doesn't show up in the photo, you can tell it's a phantom. I will now show you a comparison between phantom blinks and a regular ghost. So for a Poltergeist, you can recognize if it throws an item every half a second, and you can even test for the Polter ability by stacking up multiple items in the ghost room, and if the Poltergeist wants to use its ability, it will throw all those objects at once, creating an explosion-like throw. Do keep in mind, every ghost can throw stuff, just not as often and as far, so sometimes for newer players, the Poltergeist can be a bit tricky. So the Revenant is actually a very dangerous ghost, but is one of the easiest to recognize. So if it doesn't notice you, it will be a very slow ghost, but once it sees you or knows your spot due to your electronics or flashlight or whatever, it will speed up insanely fast, making it one of the fastest ghosts in the game. The demon is somewhat similar to the spirit, and all you have to do is start a timer when you smudge the ghost, and it can start hunting before the 1 minute and 30 seconds timer. Do note that this is a ability and can sometimes take you 2 or 3 hunts before doing so do not rule out a demon after only 1 hunt. An Oni can be tricky and is the opposite of a phantom. The phantom is less visible during hunts, taking longer breaks when blinking, while the Oni blinks faster and is much more visible. For the Yokai, we have another tricky ghost. The easiest way to identify is to hide somewhere, like on Tanglewood behind the countertop, and leave your flashlight on. If the ghost doesn't find you, you can tell it's a Yokai. This is definitely a Yokai. This is definitely a Yokai. A Hantu is very fast when the breaker is off, and you will always see freezing breath when it's hunting. But the Hantu will change speed depending on the room it's in. It will be faster in colder rooms and slower in warmer rooms. And the Hantu will also never speed up with line of sight. The best way to test for a Myling is to have your flashlight on when hunting, and if you don't hear the ghost before the flashlight starts to blink, you can tell it's a Myling. If a Myling is on another floor, like the basement or upstairs, you will still hear muffled footsteps. You can identify a Raiju by seeing if it speeds up when it's close to your electronics. So if you turn on your flashlight and it speeds up, but then slows down when you turn it off, you can tell it's a Raiju. The twins can be identified by their speed, so when hunting, it can send out a slower twin, which is 10% slower than a normal ghost, or it can send out the faster twin, which is 10% faster than the normal ghost. And it also has an ability to leave a twin curve on the activity board in the van. An Obake is also easier to identify. When hunting, it will change the ghost models between blinks, so sometimes you will need to look very closely, but most of the time it's pretty easy to identify this ghost. The Thaye will be very fast when hunting for the first time, but the longer you spend in the ghost room, it will slow down as the Thaye ages over time. The Thaye will also never speed up when in line of sight, so that's how you can know if it's a Thaye or a Moroi, as a Moroi will speed up when in line of sight. If you also have an Ouija board, you can ask the ghost how old it is, and it will get older over time. The Banshee can take a while to notice, but when playing with friends, it will only target its favorite player and won't target any other players until its favorite one is killed. So if you're playing solo, you will need to take a parabolic microphone and wait for the Banshee to use its ability. The Banshee will have a Banshee scream in the parabolic microphone, but it might take you 4 to 6 tries before it does the ability. So the Mare can take you a while to identify unless it's kind enough to use the ability early in the game. The Mare is a ghost that cannot turn on lights, computers or TV, but it can turn on the car alarm and other electronic equipment. So this often confused me and other players in the community. The Mare can also start hunting at 60% sanity in the dark and has the ability to immediately turn off the light switch when you turn it on. You can always rule out a shade if the ghost tries hunting when you're in the same room or if it does events in the same room. It will only hunt if it's not near you and will not do any interactions like riding or EMF if it's in the same room with you. Another tricky ghost is the Yurei. It might take a while before it does its ability, and that ability is double touching a door. It's the only ghost that can slam the front door or any other door fully without a ghost event. The Goryo is probably my least favorite ghost in the game, as you will only guess this ghost by eliminating other ghosts in the process. The Goryo cannot change its favorite room, so when the ghost changes its favorite room, you can always rule out the Goryo. And when you're playing with evidence, it will always have dots, but the dots are only visible through a video cam. You can have some simple tests for the Onryo. The quickest one is to bring a candle and a crucifix and place it next to each other. The Onryo will always have to blow out the candle first before using the crucifix. If it uses the crucifix before blowing out the candle, you can rule out the Onryo. You can also trigger a hunt by letting the Onryo blow out 3 candles, and it will start a hunt at whatever sanity you are on. The easiest way to test for a Deogen is to let it hunt and check the speed. It will start at insanely fast speed, but once it's close to you, it will slow down and be one of the slowest ghosts in the game. Note that you can't hide from this ghost, as it will always find you. So don't trap yourself and make sure you can loop it before the hunt is over. You can tell it's a Jinn whenever it is in line of sight. It will then speed up until it's close and then slow back down to regular speed. But this will only be the case when the breaker is on. A Jinn can also never turn on the breaker, but will leave EMF 2 at the breaker at random times. The Moroi is technically the fastest ghost in the game. When your sanity is at 0, it has a very fast speed and will also speed up when in line of sight. It is often confused with a Thaye, but a Thaye is slightly faster and will not speed up when in line of sight. So you can test by taking a sanity pill, and if the ghost is slower, then you can know it's a Moroi. And for the easiest ghost in the game, the Mimic is the only ghost that will have evidence on no evidence, as it's actually an ability. So if you go in the house and you see ghost orbs in the favorite room, you will instantly know it is a Mimic. Yeah, so this is a clear Mimic. We got the orbs. Now I really hope this video helped you, and if it did, I would love if you leave a like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.